This is Help Wanted, the show that makes your work work for you. I'm Jason Pfeiffer, editor-in-chief of Entrepreneur Magazine.
And I'm money expert Nicole Lappin. On Tuesdays, Jason and I answer the helpline and help callers solve their work problems.
And on Thursdays, I give you one way to improve your work and build a career or company you love.
And it starts now.
Okay, this is going to sound like an ad, I think, but just stick with me for a second. It's not an ad. Do you want to build a personal brand? Do you want to be the go-to person at work? Do you want to grow a newsletter or podcast? Do you want to get repeat business of any kind? Yes, to any of that? To basically being a person that people pay attention to and like and want to get things from? Yes, you like that? Okay, well, I don't have something to sell you. I really don't. But I do have an important formula for you to follow. It is a balance of two things. And although it may sound simple at first, getting it right is critical to your success. How do I know? Well, because this is the formula that I have used to make basically everything that I make, including this podcast. And it works. Today, I am going to give you that formula. But first, I'm going to tell you about an entrepreneur who got it all very wrong. Okay. I recently met an entrepreneur I will call Beth. Beth is a nutrition coach, and she's struggling to get new clients. She spends a lot of time marketing to them on social media. So as we spoke, I looked at her Instagram page, and guys, it is a mess. Beth's page is a mess. Her feed is full of nutrition advice, which is good. We like that, along with posts about politics and real estate and crypto and more. Why are you posting all this other stuff? I asked her. Because I'm interested in many things, she told me. I want people to know about everything I care about. And I said, okay, but you may want to rethink that. Then I explained my theory on how to create great media. You must strike the perfect balance of predictability and surprise. All right, let's break that down. Predictability and surprise. Use yourself as a case study for this. When you subscribe to a podcast like Help Wanted, for example, or let's say you follow someone on social media like me or Nicole Lappin, or you regularly read a publication like, let's say, Entrepreneur Magazine. Do you do any of this at random? You just subscribed to something at random? No, of course you don't do that at random. You decide that something has a specific additive value to your life, and then you come back for more of it. In other words, you want this thing to be very, very predictable. You want to always know what you're getting because it's the thing you liked enough to subscribe in the first place. But there is a twist. The best stuff isn't just predictable. The best stuff is also surprising. Within the confines of predictability, you want something that delights, informs, or inspires you in new ways. Predictability and surprise. It means getting a new version of something you already want. As a consumer, you respond well to this balance. Again, if you have subscribed to Help Wanted, if this is not the first episode of this podcast that you've heard, then you are responding well to predictability and surprise. As a creator of anything, your job, therefore, is to strike that balance in everything that you make. And, okay, let's just be even more kind of meta and specific about it. So when I, or Nicole and I, depending on which episode you're listening to, when we make this podcast, Help Wanted, we are always thinking about, well, predictability and surprise. Predictability, in a general sense, our listeners know exactly what this podcast will be. It will be a thoughtful, strategic, often very personal approach to work, and it'll always have the kind of same conversational style. And our jobs are to deliver that each week very predictably. And now, surprise. Listeners don't exactly know what they're going to get on each episode of the podcast, what we're going to say, what we're going to explore, how we're going to get them to think. Our job is to offer something that the listener, that you hadn't thought of. And now, a warning about predictability and surprise, because this balance is easy to mess up. Predictability and surprise, these are not inherently good things. For example, I could make this a really repetitive podcast. I could say the same thing on basically every episode, or I could just recycle other people's ideas, stuff that you've heard many times before. That would be predictable. but it would be too predictable. Or I could suddenly make this a podcast about celebrities' dating lives, which, would be a surprise, but that's too surprising. And don't worry, I have literally zero thoughts on celebrities' dating lives. Too much predictability is boring. Too much surprise is disorienting or off-putting. You have to get the balance right. And this was Beth's mistake. By posting about nutrition and politics and crypto and whatever, she was creating constant surprise with no predictability. There was no reason for someone to follow her on Instagram unless they happen to appreciate her very specific, unique sets of interests, which is a very small number of people, which is not how you build a great business. I mean, at least not if you're a nutrition coach. Now, here's the greatest part of all this, though. The balance of predictability and surprise, this doesn't just apply to media or social media, as I've been talking about it for the last few minutes, because once you appreciate the power of this balance, you can start applying it to basically every part of your life. Think about, for example, why you like someone, maybe as a friend or a colleague or a business partner or a romantic partner or, some combination of those things. I don't judge. Why do you like them? Why? It's because they provide something that you value. Maybe it's great advice or insights or fun or comfort or whatever it is. They do it reliably, predictably. They always give you something that you know you want, but they always say it in a way you didn't expect. They always get you to think in a different way or to have more fun than you expected or whatever. It's predictability and surprise. Now, okay, think about the brands that you have stuck with the longest. The ones that you've just bought their products for years. You've recommended the products to other people. You feel all the brand loyalty that anyone has ever felt. What's going on there? Well, you always know what you're going to get from the brand. Maybe you love the quality or reliability or price or vibe, whatever. And this brand keeps rolling out new products, updates, flavors that make your life better. This is also predictability and surprise. You can create this. You can create predictability and surprise in all parts of your life. Just be more intentionally predictable and surprising with everyone around you. I mean, in your role at work, in the things that you make, in the relationships that you have to be intentional about it. So to start, just ask yourself these two questions. Ready? Question number one, I want you to be predictable. Which is to say, what do they expect or want from you? What role do you play in their lives? And now here's question number two. Where do people want you to be surprising? Which is to say, what is your unique value and how can you do that within the confines of predictability? Maybe it's your ability to create interesting things or to communicate in surprising ways or to understand people's needs or to just say stuff that gets people to think outside of their box. Here's another way of saying it. Whenever you make something and whenever you interact with others, you are setting a precedent. You are saying, this is what I do. And if what you do is valuable to others, then they're going to want more of it. Once that happens, you have an incredible opportunity because now people are waiting. Now they want more. And you have a responsibility to deliver. But you cannot get lazy about it. You cannot just do the same thing every time forever. That is because once they trust you, they want to follow you, to discover the great new places you will lead them. So you must think big, think bold, stretch your ideas and talents and strengths and give them what they want in only a way that you can. Be predictable. Be surprising. With that combination, you will be unstoppable. And that comes from my newsletter. It is called One Thing Better. Each week, one way to be more successful and satisfying and build a career or company that you love. It's a companion newsletter to this here podcast, Help Wanted. And you can subscribe if you would like. You will get these newsletters earlier, along with a bunch of other really fun stuff that I send out and a community, in fact, that I'm building out of newsletter subscribers. It's just a great group. Anyway, you can get it all at onethingbetter.email. That is a web address. Just plug it into the browser, onethingbetter.email, or just stay tuned here to Help Wanted, where I'll be reading them. Either way, hopefully I continue to deliver that mix of predictability and surprise. Help Wanted is a production of Money News Network. Help Wanted is hosted by me, Jason Pfeiffer.
And me, Nicole Lappin. Our executive producer is Morgan Lavoie. Do you want some help? Email our helpline at helpwanted@moneynewsnetwork.com for the chance to have some of your questions answered on the show. And follow us on Instagram at Money News and TikTok at Money News Network for exclusive content and to see our beautiful faces. Maybe a little dance.
Oh, I didn't sign up for that.
All right, well, talk to you soon.